Everyone just take a deep breath. Relax. I'm going to edit out that last part. So Samyaza wants to come in instead. That's the vibration that I'm most aligned with right now. Deep breath. Everyone take a deep breath. Let go of your minds. Just be in the same dimensional space as Samyaza and Malahidael. Okay, so they're both like fighting. Malahidael wants to go first. You can ask the first question.
How can we come out of our comfort zone and awaken our ambition and have new courage and create new opportunities in our lives?
So I'm seeing a lot of images. I'm seeing a lot of like different representations. And when I ask for a phrase or something to say, I hear that the answer is simple. It's to not put any effort into it. It's as to say that all struggles and boundaries are placed upon oneself when one does not understand the obstacles of self-creation. To the human condition, this notion is alien and foreign. To come closest to it in the most rapid fashion, one must relinquish all that does not serve. Not all wars are fought with action. They are fought with strategy, replacements, and other understandings that develop during the act of war. It's important to understand that self-evolution simply relies on the conscious mind and the energy of willing action. Willing action can go in the direction or polarity of taking no action at all and taking a conscious action that can be seen. We break through our own realities when we understand that the vibration that we hold is simply the key to reality itself. We only transcend when we stop allowing ourselves to be understood from the human mind. When creatures desire to evolve in their mental state, They often forget to evolve outwardly beyond the limits that construct their own ideas. Transcendence has been confused with simply the changing of ideas. These are how blockages and barriers are created. The absence of knowledge, of recognizing that the system in which one is working in, working with, for transcendence is only a limitation that will get you so far until we decide to step further beyond the meaning of transcendence itself. The human language has many difficult words to describe the experience in which we are going to impart our knowledge. It is critical to understand that once one embarks on this journey of self-fulfillment, there is no turning back. One must understand that the raw power of one's consciousness creates all potential and rhythms within polarity itself. We only speak of this current universe, for this universe has polarity in the way that we're discussing and the way that we describe. To truly understand the messages that we give you, you must understand the infinite nature of polarity itself and how that can be a critical tool for your own consciousness and self-understanding. Blockages are simply creations of the mind. To transcend the ego is to ascend the ego. But that is not all. One must transcend and ascend oneself. There is this idea or notion that one will only be whole when one understands oneself. This is erroneous and cataclysmically wrong for your true ascension and understanding. We must analyze that the true objective is to understand infinite source itself, channeling through a vessel that you describe and label as you. Once you have applied this knowledge, you will be able to change your thoughts from one thing to the other. You will choose what deserves energy, and you will hyper-focus and manage in an instant all elements in your reality to create the direction of the flow of energy in which you will create in the infinite now. There are a lot of dynamics that can be dissected from the understandings that we share, but the key here is simplicity. Your mind must expand and contract to understand that the illusion of self is the greatest illusion of all. For all realities are intelligent infinities, cross-examining, communicating, and marrying themselves with one another. Your consciousness is no different. Your consciousness is not fixed, nor is it placed in a time and or place. Your consciousness is ever lucid. Your consciousness is made up of intelligent infinities. As easily as they come together, as quickly as they can come apart, The answer here is being comfortable with destruction, action, and replacement. Some of these notions that I use to describe these topics for you are limited to descriptions originated within time-space. Example, replacement. There is nothing to replace because replace implies distance. There is only a transmutation, but transmutation also implies a level of change that incorporates space. There is no space, there is only emptiness. All emptiness creates itself as space when manifested by the mind. The same concepts that are originated with the remanifestation of emptiness into space is the same notion that goes through the personality of the eternal mind that is experienced by each one of you as your personalities. You must understand the personality is not something that must be healed. It is something that must be transcended. That is not to say that the lessons learned through each story were not valuable or important. It is to say that they are only a creation of a greater story that you've orchestrated. It is now that we leave you on the contemplation of this question. For the simplicity of your answer has always been and forever will be our original answer of not applying attention to where your energy does not deserve. That is all for now. You may proceed to the next question.
How do we prepare ourselves for the next big changes of the world?
They both want to contribute to this question. Malahidael will speak first. The changes of the world that are coming are extreme and drastic. It must be understood as a calibration of death. Death has simply always been part of the emptiness and the illusion. War is also a perception of the mind. At this time, what you do not understand is the war has already begun and has been in long effect. Some of you have had a perception of this, but you have not taken action. Many of you still focus on the personal war of your internal universes and the struggle within. The war has been on your consciousness, on the suppression of information, and the suppression of your self-understanding. Though the material world has a lot to offer when it comes to the answers to the cosmos, the greatest disservice to man has been the robbing of their knowledge of oneself. Many of you seek an answer to your current problems, yet you continue to focus on the human condition. Many of you were instructed of higher beings that have only seemed as fable to you, and you continue to enact the same vibration as you did once before. The change happens with you. The effects that are happening in the world are directly tied to you and your concentration of your energy on the implications that take place from here on into the foreseeable future, which is your illusion and your hologram that must be fully understood to orchestrate a better world in which each one of you seek personally. To understand this vibration, you must change. Many of you have not changed. Many of you absorb the information and do not change. Many of you fool yourselves of change. And you propagate the same stories over and over again under the illusion of self-destruction. When all of you are merely afraid of death, there is not one being in this room that has not had an encounter that resists them from death. Some have learned how to transcend it at various levels of their consciousness, and yet have new ways to understand death within their own reality. What is about to happen to the world will be completely dependent on the acceleration of the beings that are aware of the change that already has been happening. Those of you who will listen to this message and incorporate time in what we've said and feel like you are behind on the change. Many of you are aware that there is a spinning circle, a gear that will continue to make the change happen regardless of what is happening in the world. Everything other than the self is an illusion. The world will continue to change in a chaotic fashion until each one of you decides to make your focal point your illusion, your personal universe. Many of you must understand the personal truths that lie deep within our consciousness. The answer to the world is change. The impact of change will be completely dependent on each individual's understanding of the potential of managing their own personal universe while the external universe of chaos continues to formulate itself around the bigger ideas and the bigger minds that have been in play for centuries according to your time space. Again, many of you are aware that galactic beings are present. But do you live in harmony with them? Are they a part of your everyday society? If they were, you would be already in the illusion that you call New Earth. The war is your consciousness. The war is the fact that many of you are ignorant to the most obvious response that is in front of you. And as though I have no human experience, and I can come to understand that your vibration gets swallowed into the illusions in which you create from old programs that have depowered you from your own consciousness. I cannot understand the utter blindness that occurs from you just simply understanding yourselves. Samyaza, I pass this to you. I believe Malahidale explains it well. But from the aspect of pride, I would like you to contemplate on this. There is this understanding that pride itself is a difficult, egoistic portion of one's consciousness. Pride is a vibration nonetheless. Gravity, to some, under certain conditions, is negative, or the experience in which you classify as negative. As other beings on higher dimensions who pride themselves on the understanding of the cosmos will simply look at the event of gravity as a chemical, alchemical reaction within vibrations and densities of laws of reality. What is happening in the world at this current moment for preparation is the harvest. The harvest has commenced. We use the phrase harvest, as many of you are familiar of the law of one. There is an integration within this harvest that many do not understand. The objective is to change your DNA. That is what changes the acceleration in the vibratory field that will align you with the North Node reality, the North Star to your new Earth, your illusion, your hyper-construction. The only way you can get to this vibration is understanding the true potential of yourself. Not all will be saved. Not all are meant to be saved. Not all are interested in the works of the cosmos. Not all will understand what has been given to them. You must focus on the creation of your personal universe while allowing the divine feminine mind to help you create, the same way that a mother helps her child learn how to use the utensils of painting their first drawing. Our mother is a skilled artist, and all she asks of us is to align ourselves with the opportunity to pick up the utensils to start creating our own pictures. We are afraid. All of us sense a vibration of fear, even though it is not interpreted in the higher dimensions as fear. We feel the change. For some of you, that change is fear, anxiety. For others, it's detachment and destruction, death. For some, it is love and security of knowing everything is well adjusted. All you can do to prepare yourself is understand your worth and create beyond the illusion of self, while trusting a power that seems to be outside of yourself, but is simply still yourself. Doing so with pride makes you unshakable. Doing so knowing that you will continuously ascend, and that your pride is the ever movement of fluidity. You will be prepared for the changes of this world. For no material object will go with you. All that is left is your intuition and what you would consider the higher self. That is all for now. That is all for this question. You may ask another.
What's an illusion the modern shaman should be aware of?
What illusions should a modern shaman be aware of? We have touched upon this subject matter. Samyaza repeats, the illusion is the idea of this world, the constructs in which you allow yourself to obey to this world. You must be changing the human DNA that orchestrates all other DNAs to activate higher codes. There has been a misinterpretation with this vibration of light codes, as though light codes themselves are the answer. Light codes only orient and change aspects of the hologram. Inside of each human vessel, there exists codes upon codes upon codes to unlock every vibration physically possible by all the ancestral races that contributed a portion of their understanding and physical bodies into the physical vessel. There are beings from multidimensional space that have contributed their DNA that can only be accessed once the physical transcendental states have been activated. Take a deep breath. The greatest illusion is being stuck to a human experience, believing that the human experience is the only thing in which you can judge the rest of reality, creating more stories that are limited within the external reality and its laws that limit. That is to say, if you continue to exist and experience your reality from the human condition, you will continue to experience time, space, and space-time at the ratios that you are currently experiencing. Neither one of these aspects are currently found within the database of which we speak to you now and today. You must understand the alien DNA that is activated within you when you activate your consciousness of its awareness. The triggering of this DNA to open, regardless of the name of the vibration in which you seek. For many of you, continue to seek only some of the star names that have been available to you now: Pleiadian, Sirian, Arcturian, Lyran. These vibrations are only some of the very many that have been given to you. Some races have no phonetics in this reality to be understood from. We are encouraging you during this time to find your own answers, to stop looking everywhere else but what is right in front of you. There are many techniques of the cosmos, from Alpha Centauri to Beta Z. There are many techniques, but there is no greater alchemy than one who understands themselves. The greatest illusion is not being aware of the multidimensional self and the power of the physical vessel that was equipped originally for this exact task in which many of you are seeking the answers for. If you want to be an angel, be an angel. If you don't want to die, don't die. If you want to be an alien, a Pleiadian, or one of the ones that we've discussed that are unknown to your common tongue, simply be that. It's already in your DNA. Some of you seek a spiritual understanding of who you really are, and you complicate it as this etherical vessel, this exploration into the unknown. All exploration includes time and space. Thus, Axel has shared this understanding with you as a multi-dimensional 3D vehicle. To understand the true contents of infinity, one must begin to let go of the illusion of the rituals of this planet. question why the rituals that we are drawn to trigger us. Letting go of the stumbling human experience that you each tie yourselves to and create more replicated stories from. To abandon one story and transition into another is simply rearranging the thoughts in your mind and the energy in which you focus. We have nothing else to say further on this subject matter. You may ask the next question.
What is pride at a cosmic scale?
Everyone take a deep breath. We have spoken about this before as well. Pride as a cosmic vibration is simply that. To understand pride changes its vibration as you scale upward. At high enough dimensions, the word pride and its definition no longer apply to the vibration in which we are discussing. Pride is potential. It is power. It is arrogance. It is default. It is reassuredness. It is daring. It is anger. It is pride. Pride is only a vibration as harmonic or chaotic as you choose it to be. Axel informs a question on the right-hand path and the polarization of pride. Deep breath. The right-hand path was designed as a catalyst of the left-hand path. Everything has a start and end point. Every infinity, every creation, and then it begins to replay itself again across what you know as chaos theory. At the beginning of the current time space in which you understand your reality, the divine feminine was naturally explored. That is the chaotic, the dark, the dense. Pride in that polarity was focused on the anger, the violence, and the vibrations that are custom and highlighted as negative by the right hand. As the left hand began to explore and expand itself to the consciousness of all universes, the divine womb naturally allowed the human consciousness and all consciousnesses to develop the right hand, the male. It is through this vibration in which the right hand was orchestrated. As the illusion in your reality states that the male, which has been the old power, is truly the negative. The programs only arise from an uncontrolled divine feminine. The right hand was designed to keep a holy order of the divine feminine that once was chaotic and lost. The left hand originated from itself and originally created the composition of the right. To understand only the right hand past version of pride is a limitation to the divine feminine. It is the limitation of the divine masculine. Take a deep breath. Pride as a cosmic scale or variable is simply a law of nature. Just like love, just like imagination, pride is a collision of two intelligent infinities creating another reaction that can become polarized within duality to be seen as any orchestration of creation that is being placed by the observer and being swallowed through perception by other observers. This is the understanding of the Watchers. That this harmony and this resonance of the illusion. That is all for now. You may ask the next question.
How to get through to those who are set on war to get them to stop long enough to listen.
No war can be prolonged. Only this so made is the word I keep hearing. They show me a diagram. SAMYAZA shows me that war in this dimension is a necessary element to be put into control or check. That basically war is being controlled by the consciousness itself of the world. And that if we want to let go of the influence of war, we must stop feeding it our consciousness. The fear and the illusion and the perception of war and constantly feeding that narrative will only incite that war. Hence again, the rearrangement and the replacement of your energy to the places in which you choose to create what you're looking for. He states that your vibration is not strong enough to understand this just yet. But no war will take place if the surplus of minds decide for it not to happen. The easiest way to erase it from existence is by not giving it a place of existence within the personal universe. It is hard for many of you to understand this variable, as many of your illusions are intertwined to the greater spider web that a master spider has created. It is only those of you who are daring enough to destroy the old reality and assuming whatever responsibility comes with that, that you will have the opportunity to truly create the ideal future in which you seek. Deep breath. And he kind of like sits there in like contemplation, trying to choose what he's about to say to you correctly because he doesn't want to share it in a dualistic fashion. But he states that for some of you understanding what he's sharing, it seems like this issue, like this illusion, like if you don't do anything, if you don't take action, then you're allowing the evil to run rampant across the world. And many of you are afraid that if you take no action, you will be overrun by this negative vibration. And that is the illusion of war that Malahidael has described earlier. War is happening, but only on the consciousness. When the consciousness recognizes there is no war, there will be no war. Many have forgotten the power of the collective consciousness and the personal vibration in which that carries. The collective consciousness is the environment. What do you think you're doing when you are purifying the environment? It is the collective illusion. And then I hear they understood this in Atlantis. Why do you think Atlantis had its reputation? They learned how to live with the environment and its harmony. There are many things about the human consciousness that you do not understand, but your potential is infinite. For you exist in infinity, you come from infinity, you will only ever be infinity. To place judgment on any other understanding is to only ever see a select few options of infinity itself. War will not happen in your personal universe. Some of you will struggle to accept your individuality. From the collective consciousness and your potential to have influence over the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness, like the environment, is silly putty. Those who have the skill that the Divine Mother has taught to create an art piece from said clay are the ones that will be shaping this world. Are you shaping war? For there are other creators that are as talented as the ones reshaping the world, who choose to dismantle new creations and refortify existing ones. Are you creating in unity? Are you creating war? Are you building structures that are fanciful or structures that are pillars in reality? That is all for now. That is all for this question.
Why are humans becoming more polarized as they attempt to ascend, creating divisions instead of union?
This is an interesting subject matter to bring up. The floodgates to ascension have been opened. There are people who are trying to understand the fabric of reality, as their realities are strictly being destroyed right before their very eyes. The human condition during this time does not even understand itself, let alone the fabric of reality that is ever quickly changing. Humans have not learned how to let go of judgment for the self, let alone judgment for each other. Humans, for being as understanding of sciences and potentiality, still ignore the nature of infinity. Everyone seems to have an answer. No one wants to accept that there are multiple answers. And what is happening now with spirituality is the same thing that is happening when religion became institutionalized, created for a purpose other than what it was. It is sad to say, but the human condition needs railing, shepherding. Many can barely control the power that they seek to hold. And this is why there are things known as Antojai to place the understanding in people's hands who are ready. There are more that are here on this earth ready for those who are ready to understand. But the human condition is stuck in a familiar pattern of justifying the Creator's potential as right or wrong. As people ascend, people will become more lost, as many of them don't understand the nature of infinity and haven't even sat down to contemplate the nature of infinity for what it naturally is, everything and anything. It is not enough to understand the nature of infinity, but also understanding the neutrality within infinity itself. So people will struggle. People's worlds will be destroyed. People will understand great sadness because they chose to create that. Others will come to contemplate great happiness because they chose the Divine Mother. There is nothing more to say about this matter. What else is there more to say about this matter? Humans seek to be right about everything, but yet they barely know the structure of their own planet. They know nothing of the cosmos because they haven't realized that the cosmos is themselves. What more can we expect from beings that are still learning about the structure of all reality? Children who can barely see the bigger picture. And we could say that it has to do with ego, but ego isn't real. And yes, to the human condition, ego does seem like a factual portion of reality, but ego is yet again just a material universe and the constructed illusion of oneself, which is just time and death, sand. As people ascend, people will divide. They don't know what else to do. People believe that unifying themselves today has a lot to do with creating more divisions so that everyone is seen. And everyone seems to be flawed in the common understanding that all beings on this planet, under their collective frequency, is a person, a human being. And that every human being is a universe, every universe is a formulation of infinities. Every mind must be cherished, every spirit must be understood, even if that vibration does not sit well with each creator finding their observations. To place a judgment is to then choose duality. Many of you choose to expand yourselves and create holy spaces, but you still choose to place judgments on everything. What place does judgment have in a creator's universe if a creator is perpetually vibrating that which he chooses to interact with? To have a judgment is to then become attached to a polarity of a construct. The moment you place a judgment, you have fallen for the illusion without realizing that your illusion has now become the predator and you the prey. You will find many battles to come, for again, the war is on consciousness. It is not physical. It is about information. You will find the most immediate reaction will be race, as many of you have seen already, but it goes deeper. The most immediate response will be race and the division of spirituality within said cultures and races. The next evolutionary trait of the war will be understandings of intimacy within each other. That is currently happening right now in your world. What you consider the great pandemic is only an attempt to rewire your understanding of intimacy, your understanding of fear, and the understanding of your bodies. We remind you, you have the codes for everything in your body. All vaccines, all upgrades. There's nothing more on this matter. It is simply a war on consciousness. When there is a war on consciousness and there is noise on consciousness, the only one thing one can rely upon is themselves. That will highlight the truth and reformulate a reality that is not interacting with the war on consciousness. Be careful, my children, as you walk forward and trek. Do not formulate wars in places that do not require your focus. Let those that seem to know everything walk into the illusions that they've self-created. Watch them and learn. But do not take it upon your responsibility to lament their creations, because that is not your divine path. Take a deep breath. That is all for now for this question. There's only one more question that this vessel can handle.
How is one able to work with the energy of chaos without identifying with the chaos itself?
Malahidael will answer. The element of chaos has a wonderful attribute of feeding off of one's fears. For your human condition applies more weight to human fear. Chaos naturally implies a feeling of shame for those on this plane. Chaos itself also is seen dualistically. If you truly seek to understand and control chaos, you must let go of your prejudices or your judgments towards chaos. You must understand that chaos is simply another tool to use to create. Chaos is an idea, a spark of inspiration. Chaos is a passionate moment. Chaos is the creational point that sparks energy into any thought form. To get to know chaos, one must get to know oneself. Oneself is always limiting the potential of chaos because oneself does not know the chaos within. To understand the external chaos, one must dive into the internal chaos. This does not include healing. It is simply to understand why you perceive chaos to be the polarity in which you use it on a regular basis. For even though you do not consciously shape chaos, you do so anyway. We invite you to let go of the fear of chaos. And we leave you with this image to use it for your further growth. Just like a river with a strong current, there are those who like to take a boat down this river, kayak, canoe, float on a water raft. If that water current had no chaos, would the thrill still be there? That is all for this contemplation. That is all for now. We leave you in the love and the light of Adonai. You guys still there?
I'm still here.
Yep,
Okay,
still
great.
here.
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Very intense.
Absolutely intense. Thank you so much.
Nice. Yeah, I couldn't really like, all I see is their images in my head, and like it took them a while to start using my body correctly because they obviously they don't talk to each other the way they're trying to talk to us. So like I felt like I was trying to put together the words that he was trying to say through my mouth and all the telepathy stuff that he was sending me, but there was no way that the human language could say all the things that he was trying to say at once because he talks beyond space and time. So it was like really hard. And I never noticed that like when I'm channeling, like when he talks to me, I'm always in a really, when they talk to me, I'm always in a deep meditation. So like I don't have to like verbalize it. And it was really intense. That was the most intense part of it. And then towards the end, I could feel that they got really comfortable with my body. And then they were like, okay, well, the best way for us, I could hear them say, like, the best way for us to like try to get as much information out as possible is to allow ourselves to use his mind to calibrate our words organically the way he would say them while still keeping our own tone. So it was almost as though like they combined their like they use my database of like what I would say to like shape what they would say. So that was kind of like really interesting. Did you guys end up having like any intermediate downloads that you might want to share with anyone?
Just that I've got to keep looking within myself and keep growing because that's the only way I'm going to get where I need to be.
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear him talk about war and like that's kind of like what he's been teaching me on the DL. Like anything and everything that you're creating your reality is literally dependent on you. Like you don't want to deal with a shit neighbor, then like why are you creating that? And you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know I had that much power. And he's like, yeah, duh, obviously, and like he puts you in this way of thinking that's like the things that are happening at a more cosmic scale on the world in the world itself, like all the noise that happens in the world is because we haven't filtered out the noise that's internally happening to us as people individually. And that's not, I can't say that's, I'm very choosy with what I'm going to say because I know better. I want to say it's not entirely our fault, right? But it is. Um because we've always had this power in front of us and inside of us, and some of us have been able to channel that naturally, right? And some of us just know this shit already and we've never acted upon this. Is another thing that I've noticed with these angels talking to me is like there's times where you know something and you question yourself and you don't do it and you knew better, and then there comes a moment where you're like, damn, I should have listened to that intuition, meaning like you've always known better, and you will continue to put our power in everything other than what it is that is our own minds. Like we give away our power to the story that we're living. We give away our power to like the politicians that we're hoping aren't going to lie to us right in front of our faces, but they perpetually end up doing it anyway. So at the end of the day, what reality are we truly creating and putting our energy to if we're not choosing to put our own energy into ourselves, into creating the own laws for our universe and becoming empowered in our personal planet? And then that has to mix with the collective mind. We always think that we have to like go outside of ourselves and like work on the collective mind or work on the environment or like we had to work on the cosmos and with the cosmos first, but it's all intertwined as an ecosystem in one of us. Like all you have to do is literally work on yourself and accept your truths. And that's one of the things that a lot of people have a fucking hard time doing, is like accepting the fact that like what the state of the world and the state of your life has always been in your hands. And like no matter what it is that you want to come up with, no matter what fucking excuse there is, you are the one that's creating it and you're contributing it, right? And like you have to be aware of how you're investing your own creator's potential. Like if you're perpetually watching the news and fitting that narrative, don't be surprised that you're going to be interacting with more 3D people because you've aligned yourself with that alternate reality. At the same time, like if you're experiencing any deficiency in your reality, is because you still have not realized that you are capable of creating it and sufficing it for yourself in this now moment. And like one of the things he taught me that he actually brought, like I can't remember who brought it out, I think it was Malahidael. One of the things he taught me yesterday, like last night I went into this meditation for like 12 hours straight, no joke. And he taught me that like, hey, activate this certain alien code that's in your DNA, and bam, just like as soon as you activate it, things have to change in your reality because you're no longer living reality from your old program DNA, like the DNA that says like you have this human story. Okay, you lived that DNA up until a moment that now you're okay, you're aware that you can change your DNA. Some people want to change their DNA with light codes and stuff like that. Other people want to change it by seriously changing their own consciousness. Other people can be as powerful as to say that old version of me doesn't exist anymore. This is the new me, and I'm moving forward with that. You know, there's so many different ways that you can do it, but it comes back to the point of like the only war that's happening is the war against consciousness. Like World War III is already happening, you guys. Like, and it's materialized and it's non-materialized. Like we're seeing it with how it works with social media and like what certain people want you to say and not say. And if you're one of those people, like this is what the angels would literally say. If you're one of those people watching the things that are happening right now in social media and saying, oh yeah, all the Trumpers should definitely be silenced, you're still stuck in the illusion. Like, because it's not the fact that they did something that makes the collective feel a certain kind of way. It's the narrative that has been orchestrated to make people respond to this event in the way that they're responding. Like there's a bigger, like if you want to call it a puppet master, fine, you can say that, right? Like there's a bigger force that is orchestrating where the pool of consciousness goes to so that they can keep status quo, like for an alternate reality that they need to hold on to. So like a lot of times lately I've been sharing with you guys, pay attention, like this is a distraction, or you know, like this is the next move that you got to do with whatever. When I say shit like that, it's because I'm being told to do that by these same beings that are recognizing that the war, and they keep saying it, the war is just consciousness. Like there's misinformation. And I love the fact that like Malahidael also speaks about like everyone right now thinks that they know what's the right way to do spirituality. Like regardless if you're a religious person or you're somebody who is a 20 something who thinks that by studying 5 years of Buddhism, they're automatically like a fucking voodoo guru. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different vibrations and all these separations in this reality right now that's going on because nobody has taken the time to understand their own personal truth. If each person actually took the time to understand their personal truth, they could then understand that their personal truth is a form of infinity that must be honored because it obviously produced results. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in front of your face. You wouldn't be able to observe it, right? But then taking the same simplicity of that notion and then going over and saying, like, someone else is living their reality. And even though I don't vibrate with it or I don't agree with every portion of it because it's not the things that I'm personally creating, that infinity is still part of the greater ecosystem that is infinity itself and is absolutely necessary. And the reason why I'm observing it is for whatever personal reason you're going through it, right? So it's like this really weird time right now where I'm seeing it more and more and more, like literally every day, specifically on social media. Like there are these wars within the spiritual community that like people are talking like, you're a white guy, you can't talk about Hinduism, or you talked about the Ankh and you can't use it in this way or this way because it belongs only to the Egyptians. And everyone keeps like trying to be this vibration of like, yeah, I'm inclusive, I'm spiritual, but yeah, I still want to divide and separate you. And that's why I've shared before as well, like we need to be careful with the types of people who are polarizing you. Like that is literally the issue in reality right now that needs to be died. Like it has to die, like altogether. It's the illusion, and that's going to take work for a lot of us, like, but for other people it's not like. And this is the other thing that I've learned about this is like, for those of you that literally do accept what these beings from other dimensions are saying to us and you're absorbing it, you're not just listening and trying to unlock a Rubik's Cube. Like you're listening and you're seeing what they're saying by watching how it plays out in reality. When you figure that out, you're going to notice that not everyone can vibrate or resonate with the things that you're channeling. Like to certain people, you're going to come off rather insane, an asshole, insensitive, disconnected, in la la land. There's going to be some vibration that doesn't resonate with a certain class of person. And in that moment, you also have to recognize that there are some things you need to keep to yourself from now on. And like that's one of the things that's been really, really, really weird understanding is like, there's a reason why esoterica isn't easily accessible to everyone either, because of the fact that not everyone has the consciousness or responsible ethics to shape alchemy in a way that's not going to be like giving a teenager a freaking Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like you just don't do that, right? So it's one of those things that we need to be really attentive on the word judgment. Like, and if you catch yourself putting judgment in any other place other than like recognizing that judgment is an illusion because everything is infinity and everything has to play out, if you really want to get down to understanding what you need to heal inside of yourself, right? We're not healing anymore, but what you in a previous reality would have considered healing is asking where you're placing judgment. Any fucking judgment. Like doesn't matter if you talk to your mother-in-law and she made you feel a certain kind of way, and then you ended up judging her for being like bitchy or whatever, right? Like, whoa, where did that judgment come from? You're watching Netflix and you're like, ooh, I don't like what she's wearing. Ew, that's gross. Where did that judgment come from? Because if you were truly the sovereign creator of your reality, your vibration wouldn't allow you to introduce the element of judgment in the first place. And that's one of those things that's like been mind-boggling to me, is not even realizing, whoa, like at 5D, we're trying to comprehend how to be more love, but even love itself is this multidimensional vibration that is dualistic. So like what I've come to understand with these beings is like, dude, like we think about love and light being like the highest vibration of everything that there is, but that's a lie. That's literally a lie, because the highest vibration itself would be infinity, right? Because if you think about anything being stuck under duality itself, love can be dualistic, light can definitely be dualistic depending on your perception. So what is the ultimate truth? Infinity. Infinity would accept all truths happening in this now moment, and then knowing that authentically would give you the opportunity to architect any other universe you choose to create, whether it's loving yourself more or having a cushy life. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you're trying to create, you have to first find the judgments in your universe and then choose to overcome them, and recognizing that each one of those judgments only comes from the program that was given to you at birth called the human condition. Like, and that's why it comes back to him saying, like, everything that you have is inside of you. Like, that was one of my most recent breakthroughs hanging out with Malahidale, was like, I have this anger in my body and I'm always trying to like fight my anger and push the anger out of my body. Why? Like, I have every formula physically possible in my body. So how about I just turn on the formula that completely just changes all anger to a new formula of like peace and understanding. Bam. When you start thinking that way, like, what else is there to do? Like, your reality will naturally respond and not produce war, not produce strife. Like, because you're living your truth, you know what I mean? And like, the truth is one of the things that people right now are struggling to see. Like, they're being lied from every fucking angle, and they've been lied their entire life about the contents of reality. And the ego itself is getting lost in all the noise, and then you don't know what to believe anymore. So at the end of the day, the only thing you can do is believe your internal universe, because that's the ultimate truth. So that was my rant. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you guys for being here. I'm sending you lots of love.